So about 6 weeks ago, my son Ben and I were coming home from a family birthday party, and he drops a quarter in the car and tells me that if I find a quarter, that it's his. I proceeded to tell him that I had actually given all my change to a man begging at exit 33 earlier that day. And he asked me some questions about why was the man begging and why would I give him the change, and we kind of finished the conversation. I tucked him into bed, and a few minutes later I walked by his room, and he was it sounded like he was crying. So I walked into his room and I asked him, "Ben, what's wrong, buddy?" And he said, "I'm just so sad for that man who doesn't have a home, and I wish you had more money to give him." And then he asked me what the man's name was, and somewhat embarrassed, I said, I didn't ask him his name, but I should have. And then I said, well, maybe tomorrow. Should we go back tomorrow, which would have been a Saturday, go back and see if we can give the man some more money? He liked that idea, and I thought about it. I said, well, what if we just take him to lunch? And I was thinking, if he's at exit 33, I'll take him to McDonald's right there. Well, that's the plan. We decided to do that. I asked Ben if he'd like to pray for the man, and he said, I've been praying for the man. And it's kind of moved me to be compassionate and to say, let's go visit this man tomorrow. When we load up the family around lunchtime, we decide to run our errands in Mooresville instead of in Huntersville. And so we get off the ramp at exit 33, and the man's not there. And so as we crest over the hill and went back down onto 77, we prayed for the man who was there yesterday. And I told Ben that, well, he had a sign that he wanted to get to Gastonia, and maybe he got the ride that he needed. Well, as we proceeded to exit 36, and God kind of orchestrated this, we came up to the top of the ramp right as it turned red, and we were stopped, and there was another man begging at the top of the ramp. And so I looked at Ben and the rest of our family and said, well, maybe we can take this man to lunch. So I rolled down the window, handed him again the change that I had. I obviously don't carry cash like maybe I should, but I handed him the change, asked him his name. He told me his name was David, and I asked him if we could buy him lunch. Quite frankly, he was surprised by it, but I pointed to the Hardys across the street. I said, if you meet me over there, I'll buy you lunch. Ben and I got out of the car. Amy proceeded to run some errands, and we waited for David to cross the street. He crosses the street, comes over, we shake hands. I introduce him to Ben, and we go inside, and he graciously said, whatever you want to buy me. Well, we ended up with a #1 combo with a coffee. It was the slowest Hardee's I've ever been to in my life, but it gave us a chance while they were making the #1 with a coffee. I asked David what was going on, more like for just conversation. David proceeded to tell me that his life had and was continuing to fall apart. And then he said, you know what, I'm really seriously considering giving my life to Jesus Christ. I said, well, that's a great idea. I said, Ben, what do you think? And Ben looks at him and says, I think that's a great idea. The #1 combo came. We chatted some more, and it took a while. Amy and the kids came in, Joel and Berea. They came in, and Ben said, and introduced David. You're going to have to cut that out a little bit, but introduced David to Amy and the other kids and said, hey, Amy, David's thinking about giving his life to Jesus Christ. Isn't that a great idea? Big smiles. We ended up buying a gift card so that he could buy some more lunches, whether it was the same Hardee's or one he was trying to get to Georgia. We proceeded to say our goodbyes, that we were on our way, told him we would pray for him, and hopefully he'll see that people that follow Jesus Christ do tangible things for those people that have needs. But I'll tell you this, I would have continued to give change at the top of ramps, but without my son being attentive to the Holy Spirit, we never would have gone back the next day and met David, took him to lunch, and told him that it would be a great idea to follow Jesus Christ. That's longer than 2 minutes, but